What I want to do is let's get the Minister on his feet.
Mr Hoyle, thank you, Mr Hoyle. And we've heard from all four corners of the United Kingdom. Everyone who has spoken in this debate agrees on the importance of engaging closely with the devolved administrations and legislatures as we embark upon the forthcoming negotiations.
I have to say I have great respect for you as the Chair, but I hope you can understand the frustration that we all feel that only 2 SNP MPs have been called in this debate, which is important to the future of Scotland and our position within Europe. And I'm asking what you can do to make sure in this debate that the voice of the people of Scotland is heard correctly. It has not been heard this evening to the extent that it should.
Can I just say to you, I walked into the chair, I've tried to ensure there was a second voice, which we're listening to. That's what I agreed to, and that's what I've done. In fairness, I think you've done better than was going to happen, and in which case, let's see what the Minister's got to say.
Mr Hoyle, engaging the devolved administrations and discussing their priorities is exactly what the Joint Ministerial Council on EU negotiations was set up for. It brings together the constituent parts of the United Kingdom to discuss each government's requirements for the future relationship with the EU and to seek to agree a UK approach to and objectives for Article 50 negotiations. I recognise the spirit in which the Honourable Lady presented New Clause 4 and the dedication of her and her party to the Union. But the JMC is not a legislative or statutory body, and it would not be appropriate for this House to change this, as New Clause 4 proposes, not only for the reasons given by my right honourable friends for the Forest of Dean and West Dorset and Dover, but also because it provides a neutral forum for confidential discussions which this amendment would undermine. Regarding the New Clause amendments, including the Honourable Gentleman's, which I do want to address, we take very seriously our responsibility to ensure that we get the best deal for every part of the United Kingdom. Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and indeed, as my right honourable friend from Woking said, England, as well as the UK as a whole. I'll give way very briefly to the Honourable Gentleman, but I can only give way once.
I'm delighted the Minister has been able to give way. I wonder if the Treasury bench would take on board the fact that honourable members in this House who have put amendments forward to this bill in all good faith haven't even been able to move those amendments this evening because of the programme motion that his government has done. They've been forced kicking and screaming by the Supreme Court to this chamber to bring this bill. It's about time the government thought again and gave us more time for debate.
This House voted for a programme motion, and that programme motion has been followed by the Chair. We have not yet made final decisions about the format for direct negotiations with the European Union. That is a matter for the Prime Minister, representing the interests of all of the United Kingdom. And moreover, it's important to recognise that there are two sides to this negotiation. We cannot say for certain how our side of the negotiation will progress until we know how the EU side will approach it. On this matter, and in reference to Amendments 46, 55 and 88, and New Clause 140, it is important to note the Supreme Court ruled, I quote from the summary, relations with the EU and other foreign affairs matters are reserved to UK Government and Parliament, not to the devolved institutions. The summary goes on to say the devolved legislatures do not have a veto on the UK's decision to withdraw from the EU. While that provides welcome legal clarity, it in no way diminishes our commitment to work closely with the people and the devolved administrations of Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland as we move forward on our withdrawal from the European Union. I have been clear the Government will negotiate on the right approach for the whole United Kingdom, and I do want to pay tribute to the passionate speech of the Honourable Gentleman for St Helens and the Honourable Gentleman for Foyle, who raised very important issues relating to the importance of the Belfast Agreement and its successors. And I'd like to be very clear with them, but the position of the UK Government remains unchanged in our absolute commitment to that. It is reflected in our White Paper, and I think it's very significant that in the White Paper there is a mention of the Ireland Act of 1949. There is also the commitment to the Common Travel Area and to our bilateral relation with the Republic of Ireland. So while I accept all the points that he made so well about the importance of respecting those agreements, I can assure him that the government respects them, and I don't think that his amendments are necessary. Mr Hoyle, we've heard from across the House a whole range of suggestions about how to engage the devolved administrations and indeed every part of our United Kingdom. The government will continue to do this through the JMC process, which is firmly established and which functions on the basis of agreement between the UK government and the devolved assemblies. We've also heard the suggestion of huge constitutional reforms which are beyond the scope of this bill. New Clause 168 proposes the government establish a national convention on EU exit, and Amendment 91 required a duty to consult with representatives across every level of government, regions and the sectors. I have to say, I've already spoken about the role of the JMC, and ministers across government are holding hundreds of meetings, visits and events with businesses in over 50 sectors all across the UK. They're consulting a number of representatives, including the Mayor of London, who's mentioned in some of the amendments. The amendment, as suggested, would get in the way of these established processes, and the idea of a national convention would cause unacceptable delay to a timetable that this House has clearly supported. To summarise, we are committed to engaging closely with the devolved administrations and all parts of the country to secure a deal that is in the best interests of the whole of the UK. However, as the Supreme Court ruled, relations with the EU are not a devolved matter and no part of the UK is entitled to a veto. I urge honourable and right honourable members across the House to withdraw their amendments so that we can progress this bill in the interests of the whole United Kingdom.
Chapman.
Mr Hoyle. The Minister opened his remarks by saying that the JMC was not on a statutory footing, and that, Mr Hoyle, is precisely the point of our amendment. He's given us warm words and platitudes about his respect for devolved administrations, but I'm afraid they are not enough, and we will put this amendment to the vote.
The question is new clause.
Come on, Ian.
Come on.
Interruption. Can I move new clause 2324 and amendment 8 in my name, please?
Hear, hear.
Oh, unfortunately. The question is that new clause 4 be read a second time. As many of that opinion say aye. Aye. The contrary, no. No. Division, clear the lobbies. Order.
The ayes to the right, 276. The noes to the left, 333.
Thank you. The ayes to the right, 276. The noes to the left, 333. The noes have it. The noes have it. Unlock. Order, order. Under the order of the House of the 1st of February, I must now put the questions necessary to bring today's proceedings to a conclusion. We now come to new clause 26, which is on page 24 of the amendment of the paper. Tasmeen Ahmed Sheikh to move formally. The question is that new clause 26 be added to the bill. As many of that opinion say aye. Aye. The contrary, no. Division, clear the lobbies.
The ayes to the right, 62. The noes to the left, 332.
Don't believe it.
The ayes to the right, 62. The noes to the left, 332. The noes have it. The noes have it. Unlocked. We now come to new clause 58, 158, which is on page 22 of the amendment paper. Can I ask Jonathan Edwards to move formally?
Move formally.
The question is that new clause 158 be added to the bill. As many of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. No. Division, clear the lobbies. Order. Order.
The ayes to the right, 267. The noes to the left, 330.
The ayes to the right, 267. The noes to the left, 330. The noes have it. The noes have it. Unlock. To sit again what day?
Tomorrow.
Today?
Today.
Committee to sit again today.